Pitching tents and sleeping under bridges has become a luxury. With widespread unemployment and factory closures, migrant workers have nowhere to stay. The CCP's 780 policies to rescue the real estate market failed, with over 1,660 real estate companies bankrupt. Homebuyers are devastated and can no longer afford to live. Chinese women can no longer afford luxury cosmetics. Malls are being hit by a wave of closures. She releases a major statement outlining key objectives. The battle is about to begin. 2025 kicks off with 11 sudden earthquakes in Yinchuan. The entire city flees overnight. Welcome to Decoding China, your go-to source for vital news and deep insights. Pitching tents and sleeping under bridges has become a luxury. With widespread unemployment and factory closures, migrant workers have nowhere to stay. This isn't a tourist spot or an outdoor retreat. You may find this hard to believe, but in Guangzhou, many food delivery workers sleep under bridges. They do this to save money, unwilling to spend on renting a room. Every day, they deliver meals after sleeping rough, working tirelessly just to support their families. If life weren't so harsh, who would willingly live such a nomadic life? Under these bridges also live many unemployed and homeless people. The ongoing economic downturn in China has left countless individuals jobless, with unemployment rates at record highs. Layoffs have swept across industries, including in cities like Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Shanghai, once the economic powerhouses of the nation. Many young people, unable to afford rent, are forced to sleep under bridges, barely scraping by. One night, a food delivery worker was seen kneeling on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. "I don't want to live anymore," he cried. Once his emotions settled, he explained, "I'm just too exhausted, and I needed to let it out." These men are someone's sons, someone's husbands. They sacrifice comfort, sometimes enduring the city's chilly winters of around 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, just to keep their families afloat. The real fear isn't just sleeping under the bridge, but the growing uncertainty and anxiety about the future. Some don't even have basic supplies like tents or blankets, enduring the nights with minimal shelter and comfort. Xiaochen, a migrant worker, has been in Guangzhou since his teens. Now unemployed and homeless, he roams between parks, internet cafes, and sidewalks, fearing eviction or arrest. "I want to work, but I can't find a job," he said. Factories are either too picky, refuse to hire older workers, or prefer female employees. Many factories have closed or relocated due to declining orders, leaving countless workers jobless. Some may ask, why not go home? To this, many reply, "If I could survive at home, I wouldn't have come here to work." This tragic reality highlights the desperation faced by many of China's youth, even in its most developed cities. The economic downturn has left them stranded, with no clear way forward, and a growing number of people are crying out for help, both online and offline. The incident of setting up tents under bridges was heavily documented by the media. Authorities promised to offer solutions and proper arrangements, but now the area has been cleared. Netizens have expressed that the most distressing thing isn't the act of living under bridges, but the fact that, after the news went viral, even these bridge shelters were taken away. With no place left to go, people now wander the streets aimlessly, unsure of their next move. It's heartbreaking. Life in Shanghai is similarly harsh. Many people, desperate to save on rent, sleep under bridges or in parks. During the day, they cook meals near their sleeping areas. Online, people have shared footage of the dire conditions around bridge shelters, abandoned construction sites, and half-demolished villages. Unemployment is rampant. In Tianjin, a job posting for a sewage maintenance worker requiring a bachelor's degree attracted 294 applicants, sparking heated discussions about the harsh realities of graduate employment. Netizens joked bitterly, "I'll encourage my son to study hard, get his master's and doctorate, and then apply for a sewage worker job." Some quipped that in the future, even cleaning jobs will require a master's degree, leaving bachelor's graduates with nothing. The CCP's 780 policies to rescue the real estate market failed, with over 1,660 real estate companies bankrupt. Homebuyers are devastated and can no longer afford to live. China begins the new year of 2025 with a gloomy real estate sector. In 2024, the Chinese government introduced more than 780 real estate policies, yet 169 real estate companies still went bankrupt, and 10 publicly listed real estate firms were delisted. Over the past 5 years, the number of bankrupt real estate companies has shockingly surpassed 1,660. One person shared, "A shocking collapse. You won't believe what I just saw." The once mighty Dongling Group, which dominated Shaanxi with assets exceeding $1 trillion and operations spanning 5 major sectors, has now declared bankruptcy. Take Evergrande, Sunac, and Country Garden, these top-tier, large-scale real estate companies, they've all defaulted. Almost everywhere, construction projects have stalled, becoming burdens on society. Apart from the unfinished projects, they're drowning in massive debt, totaling at least 2 trillion yuan, about $273 billion. Do you think this money belongs to the banks? No, it's the creditors' money. Now, even the creditors are trapped, suffering immensely. Many families have been shattered. Look at those who worked with Evergrande, they can't recover their money now. Since 2023, around 40 A-share companies have been delisted for various reasons. More than 16 publicly listed real estate companies have been delisted this year alone. Why have so many real estate company executives declared bankruptcy this year? One analyst offered 3 main reasons. First, the way they acquired wealth was inherently unethical, often involving illegal means to obtain land and approvals. Second, greed. After achieving 20% profit, they wanted 50%. After 50%, they aimed for 80%, and even 200% wasn't enough. Third, they lacked sufficient experience. Among those suffering the most are homebuyers. Recently, a foreign institution released data showing that since the real estate market downturn began in 2021, Chinese household wealth has shrunk by $18 trillion. Calculated across 1.4 billion people, assuming an average of 3 members per family, this means each Chinese household has lost 430,000 yuan due to falling property prices. However, the actual situation is worse because these statistics dilute the losses by including rural families and non-homeowners. On December 31st, the China Index Academy released data showing that in 2024, the total sales of China's top 100 real estate companies dropped by 30.6% year-on-year. Despite the 780 new real estate policies introduced by the Chinese government in 2024, many real estate companies still went bankrupt or were delisted. One critic commented, "This situation is beyond saving." Let me say it again, don't pin your hopes on the government buying back land reserves or on some miracle policy. The only thing that can save the real estate market is the buyers. The moment housing prices drop and sales decline, all these so-called experts suddenly emerge from nowhere, shouting slogans like, "We must save the housing market. We must stabilize home prices." Only then will the economy improve and ordinary people prosper. I just want to ask, where were you when housing prices were skyrocketing? What were you doing then? Enjoying luxury hotels, spas, and KTVs, living it up? Listening to your slogans, I'd rather hear my dog barking. The Chinese government's attempts to rescue the real estate market have failed. Fitch Ratings predicts that by 2025, housing prices in China will fall by another 5%, and the sales area of new homes will shrink by 10%. With the declining birth rate and an aging population, more and more homes will remain vacant. Eventually, even if you give them away, no one will want them. Smaller cities could end up flooded with houses priced as low as a few thousand yuan per square meter. The collapse of the real estate market is the main source of the shrinking wealth of Chinese households, and this wealth erosion explains many of the strange societal phenomena we're seeing today. For example, there's the recent trend of consumption downgrade in Beijing and Shanghai, the wave of early mortgage repayments over the past 2 years, and the escalating price wars among retail goods this year. One individual shared, "My wife often takes our youngest to neighborhood gatherings, chatting with other women there. Some of their husbands are doctors, others are teachers, or government employees. They say many haven't been paid their wages. Some are even creating fake accounts to make the data look better." Honestly, in the past few years, the economy has declined so much that it's shocking. Chinese women can no longer afford luxury cosmetics, malls are being hit by a wave of closures. Who says consumption downgrades have no benefits? This year, after switching from luxury skincare products costing thousands to domestic brands priced at just a few hundred, I've noticed almost no difference. Replacing expensive multivitamins for women with vitamin C tablets costing only 2 or 3 yuan turned out to be even more effective. Downgrading from a humidifier to a bowl of water with a towel during winter has proven to be safer. I've suddenly realized that many of the things we buy are unnecessary, mere artificial demands. With the rise of consumption downgrades, I feel like people are finally returning to practicality. In recent years, China's consumer spending has shown signs of slowing, but women's purchasing power has remained relatively strong, particularly in the cosmetics sector, which had consistently experienced rapid growth. However, according to data released by the CCP's National Bureau of Statistics, cosmetics consumption in November 2024 dropped significantly, falling 26% compared to the same period last year. Women, traditionally a key demographic with strong shopping interests and purchasing intentions, are seen as major indicators of consumer trends. The decline in Chinese women buying cosmetics reflects a broader consumption downgrade in society. As consumer spending decreases, many large shopping malls across the mainland are struggling or even shutting down, and Shanghai is no exception. The substitution trend has swept through the women's cosmetics market, with Chinese women shifting from purchasing foreign brand specialty cosmetics to more affordable domestic brands. As a result, overall cosmetics consumption in China has declined rapidly. Take lipstick as an example. A foreign brand costs around 200 yuan, whereas a Chinese brand costs about 70 yuan, often with buy two, get one free promotions. However, the quality of domestic products remains a concern. One content creator shared how she downgraded her spending. I now buy a single contour product and use it for eyebrows, eyeshadow, and nose shading. Then I use it as a highlighter for my cheekbones and finishing touches. Just like that, I've saved a lot of money on makeup. Who needs fancy loose powders or setting sprays? Once you shift your mindset, you can reduce your spending dramatically. The creator, Miskwa, used to exclusively purchase high-end cosmetics, but now she has fully switched to domestic products. In the past, I used to eat out every day after work at my state-owned job. Now that I've quit my job and work from home, I no longer buy unnecessary items. I'm not spending money to make myself feel better or worrying about my appearance. The trend of consumption downgrades is spreading everywhere, even in Shanghai. When I visited Shanghai, I noticed that consumption downgrades have hit even the most prominent first-tier cities. 2 pieces of clothing from Uniqlo, 1 Adidas item, 2 pairs of Vans, and 6 pairs of socks, all for just 504 yuan, around $69 US. These were things I casually picked up at a discount store. Even dining out at a restaurant felt like a splurge. It's as if spending less has become the new norm. Shopping malls across mainland China are experiencing declining foot traffic, and many stores are closing. Once a bustling hub for online influencers, Shanghai's Hongqiao Road is now largely deserted. Similarly, the city's largest clothing wholesale market, located on Nanjing Road, is struggling. Entire floors of shopping malls have closed due to a lack of tenants. In the past, this time of year marked the peak shopping season, but now the market has completely changed. Not only are there no customers in these malls, but even the tenants themselves have disappeared. Let me show you what true consumption downgrade looks like. This is what no consumption means. It's 6 p.m. on a Thursday, and there isn't a single person around. Even in the afternoon, it's empty. You wouldn't believe it, but this has been the strangest winter I've experienced in over a decade of running my business. At this rate, I might as well head home early after the new year. Seeing my situation should help put your own struggles into perspective. Keep going, and take care of yourselves. She releases a major statement outlining key objectives. The battle is about to begin. On January 1st, the CCP's official Cheshire magazine published a major article by Xi Jinping, in which he mentioned the word struggle 5 times and emphasized the party's leadership 5 times, declaring that no one can stop the historic trend toward unification. A Taiwanese official specializing in cross-strait affairs commented during a briefing that Taiwan is closely monitoring the risks stemming from China's economic weakness. The official, who requested anonymity due to the sensitivity of the matter, told Taiwanese media, "Our primary concern is whether China's internal problems, such as economic issues, social tensions, and even infighting among the top levels of the party, government, and military, might spill over externally, with nationalism used to deflect internal pressures. While we remain cautious, we are not pessimistic." The international community has speculated that a Taiwan Strait crisis may escalate by 2025. For instance, in 2023, General Mike Minihan, then head of the U.S. Air Mobility Command, warned, "I hope I'm wrong, but my gut tells me we'll be at war in 2025. However, the large-scale purge within the People's Liberation Army, PLA, in 2024 has led many experts to believe that the PLA lacks the capability to provoke external conflicts. Xin Mingxi, director of the National Security Division at the Institute for National Defense and Security Research in Taipei, stated that with China's weakening economy and the frequent purges of its military leadership, combined with Trump's return to the White House, the PLA may continue gray zone harassment and military drills targeting Taiwan in 2025, but the likelihood of a full-scale invasion remains low. Regarding the impact of economic deterioration, a recently viral video suggests that it could lead to the collapse of the CCP's Great Firewall. In the video, a content creator explained, "Why did Iran recently lift its internet firewall restrictions? Simply put, they ran out of money. Maintaining a firewall costs money. The relationship between firewalls and VPNs is like that of a spear and shield. The higher the wall, the smarter the circumvention tools. Due to a lack of funds, Iran couldn't maintain its firewall, allowing everyone to bypass it freely. At that point, lifting restrictions became meaningless, so they decided to fully open access, which also aligned with public sentiment. The same logic applies to China. If the CCP can no longer afford to maintain its Great Firewall, the free flow of information could quickly lead to its collapse." Commenters noted that one likely scenario is that the firewall will no longer be updated. Maintaining the firewall, such as by upgrading its blocking algorithms, requires high-cost technical teams. Without these updates, people will notice that circumvention tools become less likely to be blocked, and some websites may even become accessible without VPNs. Beyond economic concerns, internal party infighting is also intensifying. James Stent, a China analyst, stated that 2025 will be an unprecedentedly challenging year for Xi Jinping, marked by economic risks and diplomatic tensions under Trump's presidency. However, the greatest threat to Xi comes from internal political risks. Stent pointed out that while Xi wants to engage in a power struggle with the U.S., China's trade structure makes direct confrontation impossible. Xi's only viable leverage against Trump would be to start a war, as Americans generally prefer to avoid military conflict. However, since Xi lacks full control over the military, even if he wanted to launch a war in the Taiwan Strait, the military might disobey his orders, making such a conflict unlikely. Additionally, the security Xi mentions refers to his personal safety. His stance implies that he cannot afford to show weakness in internal struggles, or else he risks losing power. The Churchill article could even be seen as a declaration of war against top military figure Zhang Youxia. According to Xi, 2025 will inevitably see a life-or-death struggle within the CCP, with one of two outcomes: either Xi falls or Zhang falls. However, Stent believes that Xi often talks tough, but tends to back down at critical moments. His current rhetoric could be an attempt to intimidate Zhang, but if Zhang doesn't relent, Xi might retreat in the end. Analysts predict that in the coming months, the CCP will face pressure from both external and internal fronts, externally, from Trump's first wave of tariff battles, and internally, from high-level political infighting. The resulting dynamics will be worth closely watching. 2025 kicks off with 11 sudden earthquakes in Yinchuan. The entire city flees overnight. On January 2nd and 3rd, Yinchuan in Ningxia experienced 11 earthquakes within 24 hours, with the largest measuring 4.8 on the Richter scale. The series of tremors caused widespread panic among residents. Former CCP official from Inner Mongolia and current political commentator Duan shared a video on his X account on January 3, saying, "Something major has happened in Yinchuan. 2 strong earthquakes in a single day were intensely felt." It's reported that millions of people across the entire autonomous region fled in panic. The Ningxia autonomous region looks like the end of the world, as if the blockbuster movie 2012 is playing out in real life. Footage from the video showed panicked students fleeing their classrooms during the earthquake, with stairways littered with fallen debris from walls. Crowds of people packed roads, which were filled with dense traffic. A woman narrating the video exclaimed, "Oh my God, this is terrifying." The woman explained that Yinchuan experienced 2 earthquakes in one day, and the strong tremors caused many residents to panic. People rushed to stock up on supplies, pack their belongings, and prepare to flee the city. Major roads became jammed with traffic, leaving the city's transportation system almost paralyzed. Both train stations and airports were packed with people, and a sense of panic spread throughout Yinchuan. She also mentioned rumors circulating online that a super-strong earthquake was expected to hit in the early hours of the morning. This rumor quickly spread across the internet, heightening the unease among residents. Despite official efforts by the government to dispel the rumors, she expressed concern: if a truly strong earthquake strikes, how will rescue and evacuation efforts be possible in such a congested and chaotic environment? The so-called forecasts by CCP experts are always met with skepticism from the public. Duan added, "The official denial has been completely ignored." In the face of life and death crises, the CCP's leadership and cohesion have completely collapsed. According to Jimu News, after the 4.8 and 4.6 magnitude earthquakes on January 2, Yinchuan continued to experience several more quakes. The Ningxia Earthquake Monitoring Network recorded an additional 9 earthquakes between 5 p.m. on January 2 and 10 a.m. on January 3, with the largest measuring 2.6 on the Richter scale. Responding to online rumors of millions fleeing Yinchuan, one netizen commented, "The current CCP government is essentially in a semi-paralyzed state. Its neglect of the people's livelihood has left citizens disheartened, and its public service capability has completely eroded. In the face of any sudden crisis, all we see is chaos and disorder. This is deeply alarming and could be described as an unprecedented anomaly in the 70 years of CCP rule." We value your input. Feel free to drop a comment below and share your views on today's subject. If you found this video helpful, why not share it with a friend? Your support encourages us to keep providing insightful content. Be sure to like and subscribe for more intriguing insights from Decoding China. Thanks for being part of